Yo, what's good, world? It's your man, Jeff A. Smith, jumping off once again on Jumpoff Live, and welcome to episode number 29.
Deuce
On tonight's episode, 29, mighty fine. Whatever that means. On tonight's episode, we're going to be discussing the mask mandate changes, Kwame Brown's revenge tour, and a few fun stories if we have time to get to it. As always, you can tune in live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, as you're doing right now on our Jump Off Live YouTube channel. There, you'll also find our past episodes, after parties, which we have to do another one very soon. It's been a while. Original ads and anything but interview series. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so we can grow our audience. You can also catch us on Zingo TV, channels 249 and 250, by downloading the app, which is available on the iOS and Google Play stores. If you're on the go, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Shout out to all the fans in the chat, and please be sure to keep your comments clean so we can post them on the screen. A few things I wanted to point out before I get to the fellas is a few somber anniversaries. So yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. So I want to say, may their brother rest in power, and as always, we're keeping his family in our prayers. So it's been a whole year. A lot has happened over the course of the last year, to say the least. And I do hope that his death was not in vain. I do hope that we continue to see positive change as a result of what happened. Also, coming up on Monday/Tuesday is another unfortunate anniversary, the 100-year, not 1 year, but 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Massacre. For those of you that don't know, I'll give a little bit of a brief history on that. So on the evening of May 31st through the afternoon of June 1st, 1921, a violent mob of hundreds of white people attacked Tulsa's Greenwood district, known for its thriving black community, burning businesses and homes to the ground and murdering as many as 300 black Tulsans. A 2001 State Commission report found that the mob destroyed 35 square blocks and caused $1.8 million in property loss claims, or $27 million in today's dollars. So Tulsa, that specific Greenwood district, was known as Black Wall Street. Everything was black there. This was after slavery, before Jim Crow. So it was kind of a time in there where there are certain pockets of the country where black people were thriving. You had black doctors, lawyers, dry cleaners, everything, schools, all that, all in this same neighborhood. And it was a really unfortunate situation. And another example of, black Americans trying to do the very best that they can, only to be torn down and pillaged by folks who were either jealous or just evil in nature, or whatever the case may be. So rest in peace, rest in power to all the folks who were victims of that Tulsa Massacre. And I believe I saw on the news, I think that was late last week, there's a woman who's 107 years old, who was 7 years old when it happened, who's still living, who can still remember, and she has nightmares and everything like that. So I want to definitely point that out. Do your research on that. What was the movie that was based on the Tulsa Massacre with Ving Rhames?
I don't know.
You on mute, Johnny Dangerous.
Rosewood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that movie was based upon.
I also want to give a shout out to the makers of the HBO series The Watchmen, which the first 2 episodes of that show actually covered the Tulsa Massacre in a way that opened the eyes of a lot of people who had never even heard of it before. And a lot of people thought that after the show aired and saw all the stuff that was happening, they thought that it was a fake event. They didn't know that it was actually a real legit live, something that happened in our history. So it's all about awareness these days, and no matter what way you get it, it's all about awareness. So I'm glad that they were able to bring awareness to a historic, although horrible, event.
They also did it on an episode of Lovecraft Country on HBO Max as well too, where they cover the Tulsa massacre and what occurred there. So glad to see that they are integrating it into today's climate. So because folks need to know the history, especially when there's certain states who are trying to not teach the true history. So that critical race theory debate is something we should probably talk about on the show in the future as well too. So yeah. Definitely. So we joined here by the rest of the team. Jumpoff. First and foremost, he's on now. We have the man, the myth, the legend, that dude named Dave. What's popping, that dude?
Question is, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you good.
Oh my God, yeah. So had some technical sound problems. My board just, I don't know if it's died or had issues. So had to go MacGyver and found some old cables that I found from day one. So
nice.
Here I am.
Nice. MacGyver status.
Yeah. I literally ran the basement. I'm like, yo, let me get this cable. Otherwise, I'm done.
Next up, first, fresh off of first, second, and third shift, we have JD.
Man, what's good, everybody? Big shout out to CB for holding it down.
Oh yeah,
I really enjoyed the episode last week too. It's funny when somebody else comes in and they bring a whole different energy and vibe, man. I enjoy that. I was thinking while when I got a chance I didn't actually get to watch it. I listened to it on the podcast driving to and from work. But I was thinking it'd be really cool if we got all the people who we've had on the show together and we just did one big, either be it a regular show or after party show, just throw everybody on there, man. And we can just all vibe and have fun.
Yeah, I agree. It would be great.
That the last 10 to 15 minutes of that episode last week is must watch, must listen, boy. For sure. Game. For sure. Game.
Fire.
Last but not least, we have Johnny Dangerous. What's popping, Johnny?
What's up, everybody? Shout out to Charles for holding it down. Good to see our boy JD back in effect, man. He never left. You know what I'm saying? Just it's good to have that presence, man. That energy. We always welcome that and need that. We feed off you, brother. So it's good to be back. Good to be back, man, amongst everybody, man. Folks, good to see you all in the chat. Please be sure to make comments and state your opinions and whatnot as we go throughout the show. And here we go, man. Another Wednesday getting y'all over the hump. Let's do it, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Dave, do you have your bearings enough to do your story, or should we start off with JD first?
Can we start with JD and then I'll be ready in a few moments?
Yes, sir. No problem at all. JD, what you got for us?
Yeah, for sure. This is a story that sort of hit home with me very recently because my job decided that if you have been fully vaccinated, that you did not have to wear your mask anymore. So right in time for summer season when it's getting hot on the factory floor, it was nice to come into work today. It actually happened. Today was the first day. So it was nice to actually come in and be able to breathe some fresh air and not have to worry about sweating underneath my mask all day long like I had been doing. But I just thought that it brought up a very interesting sort of conundrum that I hadn't even thought about until it actually happened. But I'll start out first with a little bit of an article that I read. And it was entitled "What the Science Says About Lifting Mask Mandates." And I thought that it'd be a good way to sort of segue into some conversation for us. But I'll just read a little bit. It says a sign is still posted on the front door of Wolfboro Food Co-op that reads "Face mask required," until reading another sign had hung directly below it, explaining how the New Hampshire market was following federal policy. Aaron Perkins, manager of the shop, removed the second sign on May 14th, the day after the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced that fully vaccinated individuals in most situations no longer need to wear a mask. We weren't expecting that, says Perkins. It puts us in a precarious position. We are not about to start asking people if they are vaccinated or not. New Hampshire was the last state in New England or in the U.S. to start mandating mask wearing in public to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. And on April 16th, it became the first in the region to lift that mandate, joining several other states around the country that were loosening their pandemic-related restrictions. Let me skip ahead a little bit. It says, until we feel better about the state of things, until the numbers make a little bit more sense to us, we have decided to wait. The owner of the store said. She says, even if that means dealing with testy customers. So, just using that as a little bit of a jumping off point, plug. But
What a segue.
I didn't really think that I hadn't really thought about the fallout. And just to relate it to my job, I have people that I work with that are kind of upset now because they haven't had the vaccine for whatever reason, but yet they still have to wear their mask. That's one dilemma. Another dilemma is, how do you tell the difference between someone who's been vaccinated and not vaccinated? Personally, what I believe is that the whole idea behind all of this is to get us back to normalcy, of course, but also at this point, the people who are going to get it are going to get it. And they're at the point now where either I think at the place where I work at, it's, I think they're up to like 60-something% of people have been vaccinated. So that remaining 40% is either going to get it, or they already had it and don't know it and not going to get it. But either way, you're at the point now where that risk is worth being taken, I guess, in order to get things back to normal. And one last thing before I throw it over to you guys. It's interesting to work with, I say on a daily basis, I probably work with a group of about 50 to 60 people. And a solid 60% of those people, weren't wearing their masks today. And you almost have to get to know what these people look like all over again, where you actually get to see their face. And a person today told me that, like, oh my God, you have a beautiful smile. Like, yeah, I was smiling underneath the mask, just nobody could see it. So, and I remember you, Jeff, saying a few, toward the beginning when we started doing the show, how you had to learn how to smile with your eyes and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought that, you would think that going to a situation where you're getting back to normal would be easy, but just getting back to normal has come with all sorts of other dilemmas and problems that, nobody had really thought of. So I just want to get you guys' opinions on us lowering that mask mandate and how you guys feel about it.
I'll jump in here first. So it's interesting to me. It's been kind of confusing. So I get the gist behind it. We obviously want to get things back to some form of normalcy, especially since a lot of folks have been vaccinated. So I get the whole concept behind it. Few things that are confusing. So essentially, we're on the honor system now. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not checking cards at the door in these different facilities and stuff like that. So anytime you trust Americans to be on the honor system, I don't really think that's gonna, bode well from that perspective as far as folks being 100% honest. Maybe we have enough folks vaccinated so we are approaching some type of herd immunity where it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. But when you're on the honor system like that, it's like, come on, man. That kind of reminds me of, I was having a conversation with my wife a few days ago. We used to talk about how people used to go to the grocery store and use checks to buy their groceries. And like the concept of checks, that's an honor system. Like, you're writing this check for your groceries. It may not go through. You might be getting $300 worth of groceries and on the humble. But anyway, so
I have a story for that.
So that whole honor system thing is interesting to me. But if it was the other way, with saying that folks have to show their card to get into certain places, that would cause open up a whole nother can of worms. So that's why they are doing the honor system, which makes sense to some degree. And then you have a situation where certain facilities or businesses require a mask and others don't. So you got to keep it on. You got to keep it on the tuck. Keep one in your pocket at all times, because depending upon what building you're going into, you may or may not need one. So that can get kind of confusing as well too, as to, I can wear it here, but I can't wear it here. You know what I mean? And finally, just from my perspective, I'm fully vaccinated, full disclosure there. Shout out to Pfizer gang.
Pfizer gang.
But I still plan on wearing my mask for the foreseeable future, everywhere. It is because of that honor system. I don't trust people. People are dirty, and besides that, me not trusting people, I've noticed over the last year, as I've worn a mask all the time in public, I haven't gotten sick. You know what I'm saying? Knock on wood. I'm very healthy, but I typically get at least one cold a year or something like that, 1.5.
Me too, man.
I've been Gucci.
Yeah, same here.
I've been Gucci. So if it ain't
All
broke, don't fix it. So that's all the more incentive me to wear a mask when I go out. Not to say I'm gonna, wear it for the next 2-3 years, but yeah, I think it's a good thing, and I think masks are gonna be part of our new normal no matter what moving forward. I wholeheartedly believe that. Not like everybody's gonna be wearing it, but it's gonna be. Before, 5 years ago, you go somewhere, you see somebody wearing a mask, you're like, oh, what's going on here? What they got? You know what I'm saying? But now it won't be as weird if you see somebody wearing a mask. So
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
Oh man, it's funny you talk about the mask and having to smile all over again. JR asked the question in the chat. He wanted to know how I smile using my eyes. It was a little crack that he tried to, throw my way. But I'm gonna show you. If I'm giving somebody a little smile, I have one eye closed and I go like that. But if I'm like really trying to smile, let them know I'm happy, then I just buck my eyes like that. I scare some of the kids, but that just come with the territory. With the
You know what's funny is when Dave put the comment up, it was like a mask because all you could see was your eyes, man. That was kind of cool.
I ain't covered it
up. I had to pull it down really fast. I was like, oh snap, that is a mask.
Perfect timing, right? Yeah,
right.
Perfect timing, man. But unfortunately, with this whole mask, unmasking mandate and everything, I actually thought this mask thing would last much longer. I thought the mandate would be much thicker than what it's been. I think I think a lot of people are just going to do away with the mask. I know, Jeff, you talking about, you were saying how this mask thing is going to stretch out. I think a lot of people are going to do away with it. I think eventually there'll only be a small portion of people that'll keep their mask on them. Eventually, most of these companies are going to start not requiring for you to wear a mask once, we live in a world where it's based off media and whatnot. So if the media is pushing, you don't have to wear a mask, then the masses tend to follow. Unfortunately, with people taking off their mask and having worn a mask for such a long period of time, there's been a epidemic that's been occurring. There's something called breath death.
I knew something was coming.
People are breath deaf now. Yeah. You know how like deaf people cannot hear, right?
I'm laughing at Tito.
That's funny, bro. Actually, somebody been tickling my feet every other show. Yeah. So never mind. Anyway, there's a thing called being breath deaf, meaning that wearing your mask for such a long period of time, you tend not to smell your own breath, right? Unfortunately, what's occurred over that long period of time is people have developed the symptom of being breath deaf, meaning that you don't smell the funk coming out of your mouth hitting your nostrils. And so once all these people start taking off their mask and they start engaging in conversations and being in public places, there's been a large report of stenches and smells coming from people's mouths because they're breath deaf and they can't smell their own breath funk. And so the government is going to have to find out a way to vaccinate that. Folks, you got to start brushing your teeth again. You got to start gargling and whatnot. Unfortunately, when a lot of people put on the mask, they became handsome and pretty. They took off the mask and a lot of people are no longer handsome and pretty, unfortunately.
And vice versa too, bro. I know some people that they need to keep the mask on.
You need to keep it on. That's what I'm saying. When they put that mask on, they were able to hide all of this. Just think about this. If you ran across somebody ugly when they were wearing the mask, if you thought they were ugly while they had the mask on, that means that they were really, really unblessed.
Yeah, if you ugly from the eyes up,
then
man, it's not that much hope for you at all. If that part is ugly, because that's a hard part to be ugly.
It is. Hermit world is probably something that you want to get into, folks. And so
so you're saying they need to have halitosis vaccines as well as ugly vaccines?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I got you.
And unfortunately, like bad breath mixed with carbon dioxide. It causes a stronger stench of breath. You know, it said it's worse than halitosis. I don't think they've given it's COVID breath. That's what they call it.
Okay, I got you.
COVID breath.
CB.
You can actually, you can exactly. You can get people sick from your COVID breath. And you know, as far as the vaccination goes, you know, man, I've been sticking with the Trump vaccination, and it's really been working for me. That's using the UV disinfecting rays. I've been buying my supplies from the Quarantine Superstore. I get a really good discount being that Quarantine Corey. Yeah, Quarantine Corey, you know, is one of our sponsors, and so I pay little to nothing. Sometimes he gives me 10 doses or 10 gallons of that a disinfecting spray. You know, really for nothing. You know what I'm saying? A couple of bucks. You know, so. Yeah, man, that's what I think, and that's how I feel about the whole mask mandate thing. Make sure this is right, folks.
Pardon my growling, but Johnny Dangerous said one of my trigger words. So I'm sorry.
Is it quarantine or is it the combination of quarantine and
both?
Corey? Both.
I know we got a question from JR, but I want to get Dave's thoughts on everything.
First of all, you guys can hear me good, and sorry for the tardiness today.
That's all
Audio
good.
issues. Yeah, so you guys hear me well. I just want to make sure because I don't hear myself right. All right, so I gotta adjust here. So first of all, this subject is really funny because I literally was running late today. I was in Jewel, and I saw this couple with no mask on. Everybody had their mask on. And I'm looking at them, and you say, smile with your eyes. I wanted to mean mug them with my eyes. I mean, you know, I'm like, yo, where you? And they just having an open dialogue. It's like, yo, the soup's down there, and I'm gonna go get the oil. I'm like, okay, where your mask at? I felt elitist for a second. You know, I was like, yo, put your ish on. But honestly, it feels weird to lift these things because I've been trying to follow by the rules from Jump Street, knowing with my family and everything that's going on with them. I didn't want to, you know, give anything that can cause any issues with the elderly and my brother being sick. So to come out of this mask mandate now, honestly, being honest, it feels kind of weird. Like, and I want to take it off, but then it's like, yo, it's just this habit of keeping it, want to put it back on, you know? So, and on top of that too, I work from home still. So I'm still in the, you know, I don't know how you, JD, how it's working for you. I know you mentioned it, but it's on a different level and different experience for you. But for me, I'm still in the cut and I'm still living that hermit lifestyle to a degree. That's why my hair is still getting so long right now, because I ain't doing much.
I feel you.
You know, but I know at the same time, though, I am happy to get back to some sort of normal, though. Like when I was in the parking lot, no, I didn't have to put that mask on. It was like, oh man, you know, like I didn't know if I had CB breath today or something, that COVID breath. I didn't know if it was you know, ripping and running, you know, I didn't check myself. I did brush, you know, but it's like, yo, am I rough? Am I wrong? You know, like that old hip hop song, if it ain't rough, it ain't right. You know, I don't know if I was that today, you know, I mean, so the mask does help that. Johnny, the CB, you know, I was at the mall, and for real, there was so many women that I'm like, how many of these women are beautiful? How many of them are ugly? Because there was a gang of them today. So I know I went 180, but I just had to get this in before we switched dials because John has said something. I'm literally looking around, it's like, wow, there's an abundance of beautiful women, white ones, black ones. Wait a minute, mask on. Like
eyes and foreheads. Eyes and foreheads.
Yeah, like Future, you know, mask off. We need the Future theme song now. That's gonna help though, because it's a manipulation of the beautified system that is not the United States right now.
It is, man. It's a total conspiracy. It's a pandemic conspiracy. Have y'all noticed that more women are wearing eyelashes now more than ever?
Well, let's not get into that, man. Let's not even get into.
That's because of the mask, man. They make the eyes like super pretty.
Make it pop.
Right? They make it pop. Eyelashes like this long. You know what I'm saying? Like this long.
Looking like a giraffe.
Looking like a giraffe, man.
The eyelashes come in the room before they do.
Yeah. I've seen a chick open the damn door with eyelash. I was like, I'll be damn. Okay.
Can I share one more quick real life experience?
For sure.
Yeah.
There is a person that I know of. I'm not gonna say how I know this person, but I interact with this person from time to time. And this person's breath is so bad that you can smell. Like I have on a mask, this guy has on a mask.
Ooh,
I can smell his breath through both masks.
Through the mask.
Right. Like your breath has to be on 20.
Is he married?
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know him that well. But like I said, I interact with him enough that if I can smell your breath through my mask and you wearing one too.
you know what that is, JD? I've been studying this whole thing. It's absolutely horrible for one, and it might have been like that before the pandemic, but the pandemic made it worse. But what this gentleman is probably suffering from is dead tongue. His tongue is probably dead, literally dead.
Breath smell like old bus seats.
Old bus seats.
Hey, the answer. So that's messed up, man. So JR had a question. He wanted to know our thoughts on venues such as baseball games dividing the vaccinated people from those who aren't. And I think that's par for the course. To do that, I think it's part of the natural progression of getting things back to some sense of normalcy. So, if you're vaccinated, I'm sure you would feel much more comfortable in the vaccinated section versus a quote unquote mixed section.
Wow, six
or segregate. So they are segregating right now. So I understand it. I don't really have any issues with it. I don't think that that's something they can probably do longer term or will do longer term. But yeah, I'm cool with it. It's part of the natural progression of things kind of getting back to normal. So yeah, I'm actually going, speaking of getting back to normal, I'm actually going to the movie theaters tomorrow to see A Quiet Place Part 2 in IMAX. So we'll see how it is up in there, see what type of, CB is popping off in there. So
yeah,
I'm real interested to hear how that goes, man, because like the movies was my thing before the pandemic, and like I haven't been since. Like, and that's a big part. That was a big part of my life that it was gone all of a sudden. So I'm excited to even get back to going to the movies.
I'll give a report next week on how it went. I may run into Heimlich Morbus there too, and if I do, I'm gonna try to duck and cover. So
all you got to do is go inside. He's not allowed inside.
I forgot about that.
Would he be on the outside? Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But this is what you should do: give him a morsel of your snack. Give him a morsel of your snack.
I'm not sharing my snack with a blind. You know what? No.
He's a blind reviewer. Just give him a morsel of your snack. He can give you an in-depth review of the movie before you even see it.
Hey,
don't
first
make
of all,
another enemy, Jeff.
Yeah, don't, man. Damn.
Yeah.
What's your problem,
Heimlich has some stuff.
Oh, okay. It's just hard to respect somebody who uses the word. It's just hard to respect somebody who uses the word morsel. Like, who does that? Where they do that at? That's all I'm saying. But I digress. It's fine.
I piggyback for you, Jeff. Real fast. No Morbius, whatever like that. But you say you're doing the IMAX tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to an event in July. So that whole atmosphere of being at a sporting event that we're talking about here. Yeah. So I've already got the weekend off. I'm going July 24th for the heavyweight fight for Tyson Fury Wilder Fury 3. So it's gonna be at Allegiant Stadium. So just to see that experience, you got the movies and then on the sporting event being the first time in a year and a half now.
Yeah,
give or take.
Yeah, boxing they've been getting it in boxing, man. When Canelo fought in Texas a few weeks ago, how many was 75,000? How many was there?
Broke the indoor record.
No mask in the building, boy. They just out there just that was raw face.
It was
all
raw
throughout the
face,
video,
baby.
Yeah,
and Canelo left Billy Joe. Yeah, Canelo left Billy Joe raw face too with that punch to the orbital bone. So
literally, his face was raw. Damn.
Yeah, so
got to make him think about a new career path now, possibly.
Yeah, for real. All right, so no commercial this week, thank God. Dave, I believe has something.
Hey, that one last week was on point, man.
I agree.
I had to listen to it a few times. I had a hard time hearing him.
He gave it his best, man.
I know. I don't speak saliva like I told y'all last week, though, so I don't know. I didn't know what. It was hard I had to get a saliva translator.
Yeah, man. Well, he works a part-time. JD, you found him at the envelope licking convention, didn't you? Is that how you discovered him?
Why were you there, JD?
Huh?
Why were you there?
It's for my job, man.
Oh, okay.
I had to find prospects. Like I said, no stone unturned when it comes to looking for people to work with me, man. So I go where the people are. And it just so happened that convention was popping off.
Envelope licking convention.
Yeah, I mean, what you don't know, Jeff, and why you kind of shaming it right now. There's a whole they're called lickers, It's a whole it's a whole community of people that like I said are lickers and
Bloody tongues, huh?
Huh?
Bloody tongues.
No, that's a rival group, man.
When
You
they
don't
cut
want to bring that up.
cut their tongue when they trying to lick the envelope, they get the paper
No, yeah,
cut.
if you're an amateur.
Oh,
if you're
okay,
an
I got
amateur.
you. I got
These
you.
guys are all
I-
professionals, right?
Yeah, these people are pros, man. They tongues is they speak tongues. They
20, like you have to be in the licking game for 20 years strong before you can even get invited to this convention. It's a serious thing. Yeah, you got some heavy lickers there.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, the licking game.
It's a lot of different categories too. You know, they sort people out by their tongue length, they tongue width,
girth.
like girth. Like if they got a lisp, they get extra points. Like it's
your tongue, your licking, your speech, all of that gets graded. It's deep, man. It's you know what I'm saying? The wetness.
I mean, he was Morbus was handling his business. So I mean, he had his own little booth off in the corner and was teaching people techniques on how to better and more efficiently lick envelopes.
Absolutely.
Like you gotta be efficient, man.
So you looked at that whole situation, that whole dynamic, and you saw potential.
Yeah, of course. Somebody who was dedicated to their craft, man. Somebody who was not going to leave any stone unturned or unlicked.
About to say, yeah,
absolutely. A lot of people don't realize, like, okay, when we eat everything, we use the top of our tongue. At that convention, they talked about the use. You know, it's just like the brain. The brain.
Dave couldn't take it. Dave couldn't take it.
He couldn't take it. He probably signing up for the next convention. You know how we only use a certain percentage of our brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, people only use a certain percentage of their tongue. They say the most unused portions of the tongue are the back of the tongue and the bottom of the tongue. And at that convention, they talked about that, and they talked about the useful uses of those.
Wait, you were there too, Johnny?
No, man. I sat down. I talked with Morbus, and I listened to him more than anything, man. And he shared a lot. He shared a lot. How he got to this country, how he had to lick his way from one country to another. No, man. He said he been licking all around the world, man. Yep.
JD, you care to answer Charles's question?
He came here not knowing a lick of English. Go ahead, bro.
Don't start, Tito. Hey, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna answer that question. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I mean, it's kind of, you know, how people don't want to share with their COVID results and whether they wear masks or not. You know, this is a personal preference, situation for me. So I don't want to disclose that. But I will say that Morbus.
God, we're not supposed to have a commercial today. We still talking about this stuff, man. We weren't even supposed to have a commercial.
Morbus getting an opportunity to be on this show through his business was him hitting a lick for sure.
Absolutely, man.
Y'all, I swear, y'all throw around that term business, small business, entrepreneur. Y'all cast a wide net with that term. Oh, with the widest of nets.
Yeah, man. We're about giving folks opportunities, man. And Morbus told me that his business has tripled since he's been on the show. He's done more licking in the last week than he has, you know, in the last 2 years.
Well, he just better hope that he doesn't, because I know he's running with Quarantine Corey. If he ends up in the joint as a result, you do the math. On to you, Dave. I know that was a nose, Tito. I'm just messing with you.
Lickety split, Dave.
Peace out, Takesha.
Dave, we can't hear you, brother.
Oh man. All right, we'll talk about other stuff. Not back to Heimlich though. So what do you see? So my first, I don't think going to the movies tomorrow is I think that's the same thing to me as because I've been going to restaurants and stuff like that. So have there been any bigger things y'all have done recently? Like I went to Six Flags this past Saturday. Went to Great America.
What's up.
I mean, that's outside, so I didn't look at it as being too risky.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
All
it's talking
right.
about Six Flags. So yeah, shout out to Six Flags. It was lit out there. You know what I'm saying? Raging Bull, all that. Max Force. You know the vibes. I
It's a
said
new rag.
you know the vibes.
No,
Max.
you said Max Force. Isn't that a porn star?
No, that's the newest ride, JD. I know you out of the Six Flags game. So Max Force, it's the newest
I
ride.
thought that was a porn move.
Hey man, I'm talking about thrill rides. Ah, never mind. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so you can't get no realer than that, for adults only. Yeah. And you only need one flag.
No ticket. Dave,
No ticket.
mic check 1 2. You there,
As
Dave?
long as you got the pole, you don't even need the flag, right?
You want me to start? You want me to kick the story off now, Jeff?
Please.
So we're going to talk about the theme of the episode here, Kwame Brown. So he came from left field out of nowhere to be on everybody's social media, trending everywhere worldwide. So let me just give everybody a synopsis really fast. If you don't know who Kwame Brown is, he was the 2001 NBA draft first number 1 pick in the NBA draft. And he is one of only 3 people to be drafted straight out of high school. It was him in 2001, number 1. Him in 2001. Then you have LeBron 2003, Dwight Howard 2004, and then they have the one and done rule. So he's the first straight out of high school, go number 1. And he went through hell. Okay. First of all, he was in a bad draft, and anybody who went number 1 was just going to get the business. And he got the business getting drafted to the Wizards. Michael Jordan made him live in hell, made his hair all fall out, went through all kinds of problems. Then from there, went to LA. Kobe gave him the business and all kind of problems, and so his production, the stats that he provided gave him the label of first round bust, so we hear that all the time throughout his entire career. Well, All the Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, and Gilbert, no shame, the most dirtiest diabolical dude you could ever meet, Gilbert Arenas. Hibachi. Yes, this dude. So they were talking about, Kwame Brown and, of course, the trade, of course, also another podcast with Jenny Buss. But they were talking about Kwame Brown and how, he wasn't really involved in the trade. It was basically, Paul Gasol for nothing. And then Gilbert Arenas was telling these stories about him. And then Kwame Brown has just had enough, fellas. He said, you know what? I'm from the small part of Georgia, and I'm tired of y'all BS. So he came out for Matt Barnes. He came out for Steven Jackson. He's came for Jemele Hill. He's came for Stephen A. Smith. Charlamagne the God. Anybody who says something on him, he went on, popped his phone on, and said, you know what? F y'all, and F y'all. And this is why I am not a bust. I put my mama in a mansion when I was 18 years old. So you know what that means. He was already paid before he got drafted. But he brings out that he made over $68 million in his career, so in Jalen Rose, I got some video. Hopefully I'll be able to play with my audio issues. We'll see what happens here. But Jalen Rose for the last 10 years has been trying to break the NBA bus motto, or what's actually labeled on players. Because if you make it to the NBA, you're one of 400 people in the world in the top sport in professional sports. So even if you're the worst player, you're still better than the entire world in this worldwide sport. And the fact that he's made over $68 million, he was in the NBA for 11 years. And so hearing this story made me have to rethink about when I was talking about players who are bust and things of that nature, because me being a boxing fan, I have been known to tell people, and Jeff, you probably know me, use this analogy, that a fighter that is 18 and 12 will bust anybody's ass any day of the week, a journeyman fighter. Yeah. Just because he's not, we talk about he's not fighting on Canelo level, he's not fighting for belts. This is what he do. This is his craft. He does this every day. The same thing if you know how to work in your house and you know how to do some plumbing work, but you hire a plumber because that's what they do. So he's been on this mission that it doesn't matter if he had a bad career, we say, from NBA standards, he's a success in life. So Kwame Brown's had enough. He's cursing everybody out. And I'm going to open it up in a second, but here's one thing that's killing me, fellas. His politics don't align with mine, and I'm still here for it. I mean, he is on some straight Southern conservative-ish, and for some reason, I don't mind. So just to see how bad it was for him, I'm gonna see if I'm able to play this or not. So I want to play what Stephen A. Smith said about Kwame Brown when he got traded here. So if it doesn't work, we'll see. But if it works, let me know here. So let me play this here. Can you guys hear it?
No.
Okay. Well, none for that today, though. But
No problem.
I was trying to play Stephen A. Smith basically just degrading Kwame Brown, I mean. You know, when he was getting traded, saying he had small hands, he didn't know how to move his feet. He's the number one pick, and, you know, he doesn't know how to move. You know, he's 6'11", and he's just a stiff. He was just going in on him. So I'm going to open it up to you guys, fellas. And how do you guys feel about the mantra of these guys for all these years being called NBA bust, but these guys have made tens of millions of dollars in their career? They're the top 1% of anybody in their craft. But because the fact that they're not at the upper echelon that we normally watch superstars, we call them bust.
Man, one thing I could say about Kwame Brown, from when I've been watching his videos, man, the dude is very, very charismatic, man.
Yeah.
Back when he played for LA, back when I was a young stud doing everything that wasn't a dud, I met Kwame Brown in a club. This is a true story. Johnny Dangerous, true story. I met him in a club, man. And of course he stands out because dude is like, what, 7 feet tall? What up, Timmy? I think this Timmy's first time on the show, man. He's like 7 feet tall.
Okay.
So he was at the bar drinking. It ain't nothing crazy or nothing like
I'm
that.
laughing at Tito. I'm sorry. I'm throwing me off, man.
Man. Right. I was, I just spoke to him. Said, what's up, man? Who you play for? Because I knew he had to play. He's like, I play for LA. I said, man, yeah, you look real familiar. It was Kwame Brown, man. He was real cool when he was down to earth, and he was by himself. So and you see him now doing all these comments and these posts and whatnot, these videos. A man is a man before he's a basketball player, before he's a businessman, before he's an employee. A man is a man, and when you come at the head of a man, he gonna respond accordingly. Kwame Brown was a man back then. When I met him at the bar, he was by himself, and here he is by himself, standing tall at 7 feet and feeding that mess right back at all these cats that's coming at him so much that I think Charlemagne apologized to him, right?
Yes, he did.
He backtracked. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But then I heard he was trying to
apologize too.
Yeah.
He sent him a cease and desist.
Cease and desist because he brought up the rape allegation or case that he had, and so he sent that out, and so everybody's giving Charlemagne the business here. I got a story to add. Here's the thing, though. Matt Barnes came out, and said that, hey, if you want to come on our podcast, or we need to fight it out, whatever, right? So, John, I know you was bringing this out being charismatic. He kept calling him Becky with the good hair.
Becky with the good hair.
And one thing that stuck out to me was, I ain't talking to you, Matt, because I want to know who you mad at. Your white granddaddy or your black granddaddy?
Man.
I'm like, ooh. I was like, God damn.
Hey, man. They don't want none of that action because he can out-talk all of them, including Stephen A.
Yeah.
Stephen A. just used his voice to hey,
Hey, well, one more story. Not just our talk. He will knock everybody out because Gilbert told a story that they were in the club one night and it was 9 dudes and it was just Kwame and his brother. And they took all 9 dudes and security out. And Gilbert's like, hey, we ain't got to get in because I had a hard workout today. So they were drinking their drinks while Kwame took out. Him and his brother are some goons. 6'11", 280. And that's that, like Tito said, they're down there from corner from Monk's Corner. That's that country strong down there. You ain't messing with that.
And that's where Charlemagne the God's from. And Charlemagne was exploiting the family, talking about, his father, cousins, some of them who committed murders and stuff like that, allegedly, or I don't know if it was allegedly or not, but just bring up a lot of stuff. And that's part of the reason why he apologized. He said he realized that he was causing trauma, you know what I'm saying? And, Charlemagne's supposedly a mental health man or whatever the case may be. So he did a heartfelt apology after sending a cease and desist, and Kwame said, "F your apology."
Yeah, for real. You can't throw stones in a glass house, man. And then, saying, "Oh, time out." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You start talking crap about people, man. You gotta be ready for that, dude. How you gonna talk about the plank of somebody else's eye when you got one in your own eye?
Yeah.
I will say though, Steven Jackson. Did you one more thing? You did see
Yeah.
Steven Jackson tweet this past couple of days ago, because he's the one person that Kwame said a few things to him, but he ain't really gave him that much heat. So Steven came
that problem.
because Steven's about that life too. He's the one dude we know that went to bat for his homeboy into the stands in Detroit and knocked out dudes with one hitter quitters left and right in Detroit in 2004. We've seen him put in work, but
he made a point to say he's not beefing with no black man. That's what Steven Jackson said. So he is, now he's not being as ratchet as he could be.
He quoted Jeff on that one.
But he did send a tweet out. He says, "Yo, I'm in Georgia. Pull up. If you need your peoples, bring your peoples. But I'm here." I was like,
"Oh wow!" I know he said that.
Then he deleted the tweet. I was like,
"Ooh." He probably ain't want no legal problems, but he probably says he supported George Floyd. Him and George Floyd was friends.
So they're like this.
Yeah,
they call
that was his twin.
Like,
But I say that about Steven Jackson. He about that life too. And
one thing that I was listening to another podcast that wasn't talking about this situation, but they brought up a good point in that I think a lot of times people look at athletes as something other than being human beings.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you are a person. Like if we, got some sort of, crazy level of fame from doing this show.
Not if, when. Not if, when.
Okay, no doubt, when. And people start dissecting us and the things that we do in our mannerisms and our past lives. Like people look at celebrities and athletes like they're some just different category of existence. And what people like Stephen A and what Matt Barnes, Charlemagne especially, but what those people don't understand, and what I've been guilty of too, is that you judge people so much from their performances. Like just because Kwame Brown was not a, didn't quote unquote live up to his draft status, doesn't mean that he's a bad human being. He might not be the best at basketball, but he can beat all of us with one hand tied behind his back with one leg. He could beat all of us. But as far as life is concerned, like you were saying, Dave, he is a ridiculously successful human being, and all the trash and stuff that people get. It's like just because you play a sport doesn't give people license to attack you personally over your ability to play the sport. I don't want somebody coming at me for my ability to get parts for a combine. You know what I mean? Like nobody would want somebody to analyze every part of their day and every part of their craft. People don't give athletes and celebrities credit for their ability to still perform under that immense type of pressure. Imagine if you had somebody watching you do your job every day and analyzing everything you
criticize.
Man, I think that's an amazing amount of pressure, and a lot of times, like I said, I've been guilty of it too. But I try to ease off of that a little bit now as I've gotten older, because man, like it's one thing to talk about somebody's craft, but it's another thing when you start getting personal too. And people take just because you're not the best at basketball that they want to come at him as a man and as a person, like you were saying, John. Above all else, he's a man. And it don't seem like he a punk either. So he's one of those dudes that you don't want to mess with. And a lot of times people get behind a microphone, Stephen A. Charlemagne, and think that they can say and do whatever they want to do. And it ain't like that.
Right?
Yeah, people talk about riding up on somebody. There's some people that will legitimately do that.
Hell yeah.
And you gotta watch what you're saying, because it ain't gonna be all hugs and handshakes next time he see him in the streets or at a club or something like that.
I gotta say though,
he might have time that day. Huh?
I gotta say, Bomani Jones made a point about a man of his stature living in Georgia. He's already retired before 30. His land is paid for, and he's rich. He ain't got no time. He ain't got no time for nobody. He's here to give y'all that business back if y'all effing with him. You tell a countryman like that with his land paid for. Oh man, it's like taking the shields off. It's a wrap for him. He's like, oh what? Yeah. I got number time for y'all.
One thing I would say is that as it relates to him being called a bust and everything like that. I think it's human nature for people to judge their peers versus comparing them to the field. So, like, for example, in the world of hip hop, there's people who consider trash rappers, but that trash rapper is probably better at writing a verse than I am, way better than I am, and stuff like that. So I think that I don't agree with the fact that they call him a bust, because he's a winner at life. However, I think when you're looking at a specific industry, and we're all guilty of this, you do size up your peers, and I think that's what it was. So teachers at a school may say, "Oh yeah, that first grade teacher, she ain't about nothing. She don't know what she's doing. Fifth grade teacher is the bomb," stuff like that. So I think that just came out as a natural inclination to compare yourself to who's ever in your lane, and I think that's where that came from. Not necessarily right, but I understand why it happened that way. Because when they call him and people should realize, obviously, when they call him a bust, it's not he's a bust at the local park. it's that exclusive 400 club. What do you all think about that? Do you think that those rules should apply like that? Should peers be able to, in an industry like that is such a upscale industry, be able to critique each other?
Everything is fine until you get to the point where you start getting personal.
Right.
Like when they start hitting with personal attacks, and you start talking, like, if you want to say this dude, I think all of us have the right to say that someone is garbage at their craft. Like, you are garbage. You aren't very good for that level. But if somebody were to come up to me and do it, it would tear me down and tear me apart too. So I think that we have the right to do it, and just because you have the right to do it doesn't mean you necessarily should do it.
Right.
And you should also keep the stuff related only to sports. Like, and I'm saying all this stuff because I've been guilty of the opposite, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Like, just because somebody's been trash at a sport, nope, you less than a man. Like, I bet you a garbage dude too. Like, and it's just as I get older. As I get older, and
more people with less attributes over the years.
as I get older and start understanding more about myself, and understanding that you don't necessarily have to come at a person personally in order to judge their talent when it comes to something. And I think that's something that people can do it. But I mean, you got people who follow sports, and they are fanatics, 100% fanatics, and they look at that as, they don't look at, like I said before, they don't view people as being people. They view them as being objects. Just because they play for your favorite team does not give you the right to tear this person apart, personally, on a personal level.
And you can't bomb on somebody for 20 years and expect them not to eventually clap back. I mean, that's a long time, man. That's a long time.
2001.
Yeah. 20 years.
He been boiling over, man. And here's the thing, man. His comebacks, man. This dude was ready.
Yeah,
he was ready, man. Like, he listened to Eminem every time before he do a YouTube post. Like, man, this is like you only got one shot. I mean, there's no he doesn't run out of things to say.
And
once they figure that out, you got cats like Charlemagne to say, you know what, I don't want none of that no more.
Yeah.
It's too late. You done pulled the trigger. You done went personal on him, man. So just be accountable for what you say and what you do. And remember, a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And that's step to you. You know what I'm saying?
He's getting podcast offers and everything. He ain't got nothing but time. So if somebody go give him a bag to talk, what he gonna talk?
Man.
Why not?
Oh man, he said he a Geechee man. Hey, but look, what I am gonna do, I'm gonna reach out to Snoop Dogg and Triller Network and see if they can get together, promote a fight between Kwame and any one of them cats that want to see.
They might. They got Chad. They got Chad Ochocinco Johnson fighting next month.
Next month, who's he fighting?
Well, actually, he's on the Floyd Mayweather card, but he's fighting some cat.
Wow, it's gonna be interesting.
Celebrity boxing, man. We can get Kwame and actually Matt Barnes. He throw hands too. No, his beef with was it
Derek Fisher?
Derek Fisher. He drove to the cut, jumped the fence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, real quick. Derek Fisher was dating Matt Barnes, or still with Matt Barnes' ex-wife, and they were teammates on the team. So he broke the bro code because he said that, hey, if you're supposed to tell me, he didn't tell me, and so the kids call saying, "Daddy, Derek's over here acting funny."
Derek over here.
Yeah. So Matt Barnes drove like
fishing in Mama Pond.
Yeah. So Matt Barnes drove 90 miles an hour and gave Fisher them hands, and basically that kind of ended his Knicks coaching career.
Straight up.
I mean, I was in New York at the time in Manhattan. It was on all the news channels in the office. Derek Fisher in fight with Matt Barnes. I was like, oh, damn, he lost the job. Yeah, so
that's after he went to the WNBA, right? No, seriously, he was a coach, right?
No,
he went to coach in the WNBA. Was that after that?
No, he coached the Knicks. Derek Fisher coached the Knicks.
I know, but I'm talking about after that.
This is before the WNBA.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, but
no, he went there afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I see why.
Sorry, I didn't understand that, but yeah.
It's like you a good candidate to be. I'm gonna say demoted, but you know what I mean.
So I say all that to say
we taught him how to box in the WNBA.
Yeah. So I say all that to say Matt Barnes will throw hands, Steven Jackson will throw hands. We can get them all in the ring, do some things.
Get them all on the same card, right?
Yeah, they can all do some things. So
Snoop will set that up. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Sponsored by have them come and hash out their differences on the next episode of the Jumpoff.
Come on. We'll have Heimlich Morbus be the referee.
Oh, play
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing in this corner.
Hey, you sound just like him, John.
Well, you know I do voices pretty good.
Okay, man. I'm about to say you sound just like him.
In-depth review.
Like
he said in-depth review.
Hey, John, is there any way we get him on the show? Because we need him and Jeff together.
Yeah.
Who and who?
You know who we talking about.
I say, you know.
Really gonna ask that question.
I have to miss that episode.
That's your brother.
Is Heimlich black?
Heimlich like is a mix. He's like a quilt made.
he's a human quilt.
Yeah, man. He just got.
He transcends race.
He's multiracial. He is the American dream.
He embodies race. Yeah.
Is he like Tiger Woods? Is he Capricornation or something?
For shizzle.
For shizzle.
I bet y'all don't know what his favorite snack is.
A morsel of what? What'd you say?
Licorice. Black licorice.
That's filthy. Black.
Can't get enough of it.
Oh my gosh. We're going let me wrap this up, man. Any final thoughts, fellas, before we go and get on about here?
Yeah, man. With these mask mandates, being let down or whatever, folks, be careful out there. COVID is still alive. It's still out there. People are still being sick. We don't hear a whole lot about it as much as we did on the media, but that doesn't mean that you stop being smart, stop being safe. Keep your distance, man. Even if you got that vaccination, keep your distance. Like Jeff was saying, he hasn't got sick since he's been wearing his mask and everything. And I think that goes for a lot of people. My family and I, we still wear a mask when we go out and whatnot. There's still a lot of infected people out there, some dirty people out there. So protect yourself at all times, folks. Just be smart. Live your life. Live it fearlessly, but live it intelligently.
Most definitely. JD, that dude named Dave, any final words?
Man, just happy to be back. Ready to do it again, man. Just keep pushing forward, and can't wait for next week.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Hey, shout out to all the new people on the show. Christina Davis, this is her first time, I believe, on the show. Welcome to the show.
Long time no see.
Yeah, most definitely. Appreciate the support.
Mm-hmm.
Spread the word. That dude, any final words?
No. Hopefully I get my audio issues back, so I'll be back in the sack.
Oh yeah, you'll be good. All right, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Jump Off Live. Please be sure to follow us on social media by searching for Jump Off Live, and we'll see you all next week. Peace and love.
Jump off.